Hello everyone and welcome to this Adobe Illustrator tutorial where today I'm going to be teaching you about the gradient tool. So our gradient tool is visible to us on our toolbar right over here beside the mesh tool, and you can see that the shortcut over here is G, and the tool description is given as we can create gradual blends between colors. Okay, so now let's use the gradient tool and show you how it works. Firstly, in order to use the gradient tool, we need to create a shape so that we can put colors in it. Alright, now you can see I have created a shape. For now, let's just say I want to create this as a white colored rectangle. And after that, I can either select on the gradient tool over here to find our gradients option, or I can just go over here on window. Then I can select gradients, and you can see that the gradients shortcut is Ctrl plus F9. Now you can see after pressing the gradient, our pop-up window comes over here where we have the stroke, gradient, and transparency options. Now first things first. In order to get a gradient in our rectangle over here, let's just click on the gradient slider. And after clicking on the gradient slider, you can see that we have a black and white gradient on our rectangle. Now to show you this properly, let me use the selection tool and bring it outside. Here you can see it's white whereas it's black, as mentioned by our gradient slider points over here. Okay, now what we will do is we will select these dots and then we can select our color. We can also select these parts of our gradient to select what color we want. Okay, let's just move them. Let's just double click on this, and here you can see that we can edit its opacity. We can check what color we want from here, and there are swatches from where we can pick from, and also we can use this dropper tool. Alright, now let's just double click on this part again and say I want to choose the color of red over here. So now you can see after clicking on red, our color, which was white previously, has turned into red. Now let's pick some colors over this side, double click it, and say this time I want it to be purple. Now you can see that the gradient tool is a beautiful tool that creates these differences in color, and we can make so many vast amounts of design colors using our gradient tool. Okay, now after that, let's explore our gradient tool options over here. First of all, we have the gradient type. Okay, now the first one is a linear gradient. After that, the second one is a radial gradient. Third is a freeform gradient. Now over here, if you go and see that this diamond shape is on top of our rectangle. Now see, if I move it to this part, it's basically this diamond shape as well. The purple color is more visible than the red color. Now say I want to move it to the right. I can either do it from here by selecting this diamond, or I can also do it from here selecting this diamond. As you can see, this is what happens when I move it. It's basically a boundary between these two colors. Okay? Now let's explore the types. Firstly, we already used up the linear gradient, so let's go forward with the radial gradient. As you can see, after I select the radial gradient, I can either rotate it or I can move the amount of radius that my gradient will be applied onto my rectangle, and I can also do this on our gradient slider too. As you can see, this is what it looks like. Let me just delete that one. Okay, now let's select this one, and now if you want your gradient type to be a little more different, you can always click over here and then you can select the different types of templates that are already available, or we can just click on add swatches and we can find many types of gradients. Now that we're done with the radial gradient, let's go forward with the freeform gradient. Now over here you can see in the freeform gradient we have this option to basically draw either points or lines. Say I wanted to draw a line, so I just say I draw it here from there. If you want to draw a straight line, it will not occur that easily, but you can get the gist of it. And say I want to draw it like that. There you go, it's done. And if you want to pick a color from there, just go ahead and pick a color. Let me just start from the beginning so that it's easier to understand. Let's take it out and let's make a rectangle on this side. After that, let's create this gradient. Let's create this one first, freeform, and now I will choose to give it points. So say I want this point and I want this point and I want my color to be blue. Okay, now you can see that it's changing to blue. Now if I move this over here, it will stay blue. Say you want to increase the radius, you can do that as well. Say you want to decrease it, you can do that as well. There we go. This time I want this gradient to be bluish in color. I want this gradient to be a little like that. So this is how it works, and you can understand that we can create so many different types of gradients using these tools. Okay, now that I've explored points, let's go for lines. So first let's just click on them and delete our gradients. Now let's click on a line, but before that let me select my color to be, say, a red. Okay, let's just make a line, and after that it's basically the same thing. Let's go to freeform, then select lines. You can click any lines over here, and you can even create curved, gradients, and press escape when you're done. After that you can just, let me do it from the beginning. Let's create it as a white gradient this time. And now let's go to freeform. After that, let's create white. Freeform, then let's select a point. No, let's select the lines. Then press that. There you go. And if you're done making lines, just press escape to stop it. After that, we can select any of these points and then make it into our significant color. Press OK. Let's go and make this pink. Let's just bring out the color swatch so that's easier to get from. Alright, now you can see that this way we can create multiple gradients and create a very visualizing effect to add in banners, posters, etc. Okay? Now, if you want to add more different types of colors or gradients to your shape, all you need to do is basically, let me create a rectangle first and then create the gradient to be like this. Let's increase it. Okay, now let's say I want the gradient slider back in place. All right, instead of purple here we want white. Okay, now let's say I want to put another color in between them. So how do I do that? How do I do that? That is basically really easy. I'll just have to take my cursor under the gradient slider and then click on it. Then I can create another color over here. If I want to click on that one, I can do that as well, and this one as well. So let's create this one in a yellow. Okay, my bad. Let's just double click on this and then we will click on yellow. Okay, so basically you can see I had made a mistake. Let's just click on yellow over here. Or I can just shift it over here. Shift this back here. There you go. Now let's delete that part. Let's say I want this color to be green. No, not green. How about I just make it this color? That's nice. And now I want this color to be a bit of blue. Okay, so now you can see that this is how you add multiple colors to our gradient. Okay, now if I select the circular gradient or radial gradient, you can see that this is how it will look, and it looks beautiful, honestly. Let's just increase this. Okay, so that's how it looks. After that, now I'll show you what the opacity does. If I select 50% opacity, you can see that the colors are not less visible. If I select 0, there will be circular points or divisions between them, which they are clearly visible from. If I select 80, this is what they look like. 100, and this is what they look like. Okay, now if I go to location and press on 10%, you can see that every color has a 10% increase in their length. Okay, if I select 50, this is what it look like. If I select 70, this is what it will look like. If I select 80, this is what it will look like. Okay, so that is all for this part. Now let's go back and delete this. Okay, all right, now this time I'll show you how to create a solid gradient. Okay, so let's make a rectangle. Okay, now if you want to create a solid gradient, you just have to shift this part in the middle, and let's say I want to make this part red and this part white. So I'll just take the diamond over here and then shift it directly over here. Now you can see that the division over here is clearly visible, the point where they actually meet is basically being stopped. Now if I click on this and select red, you can see that there's a clear division between them, and it is perfect. Okay, so that is how you create a division between your gradients. And then after that, let's create a gradient for our bench shapes. Now I can just go over here, use that, and then we can go to effects, then we'll go to warp, and then we can create an arc. And here you can see that the arc is not really nice. It turned into a triangle instead. So instead of doing that, Control Z. Instead of doing that, we will delete this. And then now let's make a rectangle again. Let's just add 0 colors this time. So let's take that, delete it. Let's just put our gradient off for now. So let's put our gradient off for now. Okay. Gradient को remove करो भाई. Hope this works. Let's create a rectangle. It's all white, which is good. Now then we'll go to object, we'll go to FX, we'll go to warp. After that we'll create an arc. Let's say I want it to be an arch. Let's press OK. Now we can't see it because it's like a white color, but if I come back here, select this and make it black, you can see that that's what the arc looks like, which is good enough. So now let's say instead of black I want to put red. This is how it will look. I can even add more colors just like before, but I'll not waste time by explaining that. So this is how you create a gradient on a bent or arched shape with effects. Now since then we are learning how to create a gradient on shapes, now I will show you how to create a gradient on texts. For creating gradients on texts, first let's type a text over here. Okay, oh my god, shit. Let's delete that. Delete the whole thing. Delete the whole thing. Okay, now let's create a text. Okay, now let's make it big by using the selection tool, Shift Alt, then stretch it. Okay, put a gradient on, and now as you can see, when I click on this, even after having the colors assigned to my gradient, it's not changing a color because I haven't created outlines on my text. So in order to create an outline, you just right click on the text, then select create outlines, and after that we can select the gradient. Now you can see that it's creating this effect, right? So now let's say I just want to delete this part and we have this gradient. Okay, now if I press Ctrl Y, you can see that the edges are really affecting our text. So what to do? We can just go to Window and then select Pathfinder. After that, in the shape modes, we can just press this to unite all of them. After that, you can see that all of them are perfectly showing the effect. If I press Ctrl Z, you can see that it wasn't, but Ctrl Shift Z, it's looking better here. Okay, so that is all for this video. Thank you for watching it, and I'll see you in the next class, and I'll see you in the next video.